ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Sing through the fog, old Gothi's sleigh. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Sing through the fog, old Gothi's sleigh. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Sing through the fog, old Gothi's sleigh. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading.
Hello, hello, hello. Hey, everybody. I know, Rip. I know. I even have new emojis that the Queen of the Penguin made. Handmade that I need to add. I have to resize them, but we'll get more of unique emojis. If you've been a YouTube member for 6 months, you'll have one of them as your little badge. But I don't think I have added them as emojis. Any of them as emojis yet. Let's see. Check. But we get updates. It's a whole new world. Oh, it is an emoji right now. It is Pinguini. Join my own live and type it. I never know if I actually have access to my own emojis or not. Oh, Rip has it. There we go. Pinguini. It's an actual cobalt blue penguin. Unlike my little avatar here. That's okay. The king treating his subjects well. Yeah, and pumpyheart just volunteered like a whole bunch of thumbnails, so we're not even gonna have just one on repeat. You're gonna have different thumbnails. So thank you, pumpyheart. I offered to pay them and they were like, nah. They're too cool for that. Video thumbnails. Do you not see it? Or did you not see it? Save money for the Neo repairs. Hopefully you guys can see it. It should say Go7 is live, and it has me holding an apple, and there's an infantry coming for it. Advanced words by web replays. The chilled streams also have their very own thumbnails, so it'll be very exciting to show off next Wednesday. Exciting times. Fluff, welcome, welcome. Okay, we got PunisherIceman versus a mystery player. I think it's yellow comment. A Nell hype, right? Fluffy's now judging me. Fluffy, don't judge me. Okay. You got PunisherIceman playing as Jake versus, I assume, a Chinese player playing as Sami. Let's quickly check to make sure. Oh, this is just Global League. This is not a tournament game here. But it is on the map that was in the Smacky Cup. Or is it Smacky Cup 2? I don't remember. I think it's Smacky Cup 2. But we're going to see Jake versus Sami. Now, in most modes... Actually, I guess it's not true. In Standard, Sami's really quite good and is 2 tiers above Jake. But in Fog of War, they actually do share a tier. We've talked about it a lot, but Sami is a lot worse in Fog of War just because of how big the maps are and how much harder it is to guarantee you're having infantry versus infantry fights. Because the maps are much larger, infantries don't really run into each other very often to have your better capture phase infantry fight Sami bullying shenanigans. Instead, it's the vehicles that run into each other right away. And Sami has worse vehicles, so she's already at a downside there. And then the other thing is, because the maps are so big, there's a lot of opportunities for your own infantry kind of get picked off because you can't really cover them all. And then once you run out of infantry, you're stuck building vehicles to try and keep up with your opponent and their own vehicle count. But if you don't have any infantry, then your day-to-day is just negative and you don't really have a power or a super. So you can very quickly run into a death spiral as Sami. So it can be it's very tricky to play Sami, although she has potential. I'm not sure what all the differences are. Oh, that's right. There's a comm tower back here rather than in these corners. Now, Sami does like maps with more comm towers because it means she's got more targets during her victory march. And if she can snap up all the comm towers, then it definitely offsets how negative her day-to-day can be. And here you can see the PunisherIceman has gone with some recon openers. A double recon opener, which is totally fine. As a Sami player, I would probably want to do some early tanks in prediction to predict the recon harassment. Going for the early artillery is a little bit risky because as soon as it fires, your opponent's going to know that you did that and that you don't have great protection for your units across the map. So it's fired now, and on this turn, this tank actually can reach this infantry, so it might get a nice little revenge hit. We'll see. It's kind of a choice from PunisherIceman as to how to approach this. If it attacks from the plains, then the tank can just hit from the plains. If it attacks from this plains, then you wouldn't be able to because the force is in the way. Ideally, you'll have to force Sami to give up the capture to let the tank attack from that tile. Not that PunisherIceman knows about that tank, though. Wow, I'm surprised the recon didn't go for the hit over here. I guess it's feeling comfortable to just move down here, go for the check, because we have the tank recon hit on the following turn. This recon also didn't attack. Wow. So usually, I would advise that you do attack. You don't stop the capture because Sami has the enhanced capture bonuses. So they'll still get the capture even though you like hit them. But on the following turn, you kill off their infantry. And that can, you know, as we were talking about before, can very quickly lead Sami down a death spiral. If you can just limit that infantry count. What's up? So I would recommend having that recon go for a swing. But it's also fine to like let this capture go for a tank attack and the recon finish off kind of a deal. Or not. Okay. Well, I don't... I mean, I guess it's fine to just try and be really passive, but I would heavily suggest trying to pick off as many Sami infantry as you can, because that's where all of her powers come from. So if you can get that number lower early on, you'll be pretty darn happy. Gonna attempt a surrounding this poor recon. Okay, this pipe seam has been broken, and that does allow for faster transportation down onto this front. This recon did kind of get trapped in here. We'll see what it ends up doing. Interesting. So I guess this is fine, and it's going to be like tank infantry kills this one off. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You don't really need to start going for the comm tower capture, but it does kind of force the Sami to send in more units into this fight. Yeah, I guess that works out nicely. I'm not a huge fan of these two units being swapped. I kind of like the recon being more out of the way and the tank being more centralized. That's okay. And over here, we do charge in, kill off an infantry. Interesting. The tank isn't covered by another tank, so it's going to be a little painful for sure. Oh, no, there's that tank. Okay. Still looking pretty painful. But fortunately, for Sami, pretty much all of the vehicles are down to the south, so they're going to be able to get some nice damage here. And then PunisherIceman has quite a strong attack coming in through the north, so they're both going to get some wins out of these engagements. I'm new, still new here, and you have something to say. More likes for the King of the Penguins. Well, thank you, Balto. Ooh, okay, the tank decided to come up here and smack this recon. Looks like we're going to kill it off. I do like killing off recons. It does mean there's one less tank for the fight over here, which could be a little bit dicey. Ooh, this recon lives? Whoa. Whoa. That's so much overkill. Yeah, I think I would have preferred to have the two Sami tanks strike here and kill this tank off. But it's not the end of the world for sure. Both of PunisherIceman's recons did die, which is really annoying. You can see how much less vision PunisherIceman has this turn, but it does give some fairly valuable tank strikes to PunisherIceman here. And PunisherIceman's normal power isn't going to be like game breaking here, but it can still do some decent damage. The super though for Jake is going to be it's going to hit before Sami can get the super, and it's going to be really good because it's extra movement on these vehicles, extra firepower when attacking from planes, which as you can tell is most of the map. So that will be really good news for Punisher Iceman, the Jake player. And it'll be very good. Sami should probably try and get some more T-copters. I know I'm biased about that, but you do want to try and get some mechs onto the field to help support in all these vehicle fights. And getting one APC is fine, but you would prefer to build transport copters just because it won't stop you from building infantry from that base. So every transport copter is like another foot soldier that you get to produce as well. They also fly, so they're slightly faster when crossing the map. Depends on penguin aging rates. When will penguin god be considered an old god? That's a good point. Maybe I already am. Okay, I'm not a huge fan of this tank being used for this overkill because this exposes it to this mech. I guess the infantry might be going for the mech hit. Knocking down to 5. Fine. It's still pretty nasty. I do like healing up this tank, though. I think I would have preferred if the tank had just gone for this strike. It's not very likely that you'll... I guess it would have actually brought you closer to this tank. Okay, I guess it's fine. But I think I still might have gone for that. And just used the infantry to finish off the recon. I guess this tank is fine to attack from the comm tower. It's more this tank that doesn't want to be here. Okay, we are falling back at the top. We have this nice wall off by our Sami player. If you have a tank that can do nothing but attack this infantry, then this is the tank that would attack that infantry. And then I'm pretty sure double comm tower Sami can get some kills done here. I don't know if 5 health mech plus full health tank kills a tank. It might. It's a pretty strong mech. But yeah, if you've got this high of a tank count in this region, I would feel pretty confident attacking because this is their one base side. And like the infantry had a great attack on this guy. I think that's quite the missed opportunity. Okay. Sami is going into the Neo Tank recon. I'm fine with this. You do have to be really careful because a lot of Sami players like to go with the idea of I'll build a heavy tank so that I can like produce more infantry, for instance. And then the heavy tank can fight their vehicles. But what's going to happen is a heavy tank means you just have less vehicles for the fighting and less vision. So all of your infantry get killed off, all the support units get killed off, and you just have a Neo tank sitting there in the darkness. You can use, that's true, you could use the black boat on the HQ to refuel the transport copter. Okay. We have a copter from PunisherIceman, that's fine. I would probably want to, as PunisherIceman, I'd want to stick more to the ground units. Some copters are fine. You're going to want more of these just because your super's coming up, and they definitely benefit more than the copters do, because copters don't get the +2 movement, although they do get the extra firepower on the planes. Okay. Very nice Spidey senses by the Sami. We have double anti-air as the copters start coming out. PunisherIceman. More and more copters. Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes. I think more tanks would be better just because the super's coming up, but if the copters get into a good position, then the +2 movement doesn't matter, then that's totally fine. Oof. Oof, you really don't want to base skip his Sami. Also, going for some heavy vehicles as Jake is also fine. We're going to dive on in here. Yeah, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think if this tank attacks from the planes, it has a better chance of killing this recon, and then this tank could hit the artillery if you really wanted to go in. I'm not a huge fan of just hitting this recon into Neotank and artillery range. That's going to be very painful. Okay. Yeah, not a great attack. I think maybe waiting one more turn just so the recon can charge forward and see what you're running into first would be advisable, because this will be very painful on the counter swing. Everything gets wiped out. Ooh, the anti-air, that's... It's ill-advised to hurl an anti-air onto the front lines, but there is a backup anti-air at least. And hopefully that will be fine. Okay. You probably just pop the Jake Super every time here. You even get 2 artillery shots off of it. I'm surprised it's not getting popped. Okay. Do kill off an anti-air, which is nice. Wow, didn't get popped. Okay, very restrained. The idea must be to just have the artilleries hit this Neo tank. I think it would have been good enough. That's okay. I do like the artillery placements. A lot of coverage. Okay, here comes the victory march. If we look at Sami's infantry count, we're down to 6 infantry and 3 mechs versus 15 infantry. So we're already at the point where Sami's powers are going to be almost useless. Down goes a copter. We do have the mechs kill an anti-air, which is nice. And then we do get the comm tower. But it looks like this might be a super for a single comm tower. Which is good, but I don't know if it's good enough. Anti-airs die. Okay, the Neo tank is on a missile platform, but is in the missile platform range of 2 artillery on the super. Oh, there is a backup Neo tank though. This is good. So something that Sami, so that might look decent for Sami. Like you get both of these comm towers. You have 3 comm towers to 1, but you do run into the problem of all of these infantry over here. These foot soldiers, they had to lunge forward to do that damage. So they just kind of get cleaned up, and then it's going to be impossible to bring back that foot soldier count. Kill off that recon. Okay, keep capping. Anti-air gets knocked down to 1. These might not get killed off. I would try and kill them off if I was PunisherIceman. But we might just focus on this army up here. Okay. Go for a nice little sacrifice. It doesn't get the kill. Okay, the 2 artillery do fire at the Neo tank. It's probably better to just ignore the Neo tank and just take out full health tanks. But I guess the full health tanks do get chipped down pretty decently by these copters. Yeah, I would definitely have preferred to kill off these foot soldiers though. Have like the copter come down, infantry strike, and then 2 more infantry strikes, 1 from there and 1 from here. That's okay. Sami's very happy to be able to keep all of these foot soldiers alive for another turn. They should probably run away, especially that one. There gets trapped. Goes in for the finish. It's a bold Neo-Tank move, but I guess the tank's going to hit that artillery. I like the artillery covering the artillery. That's a classic move. Healing up the anti-air, always a good choice. Yeah, I like these guys running away. You really want to preserve those for the next Sami super. But now, this is what I'm talking about. Look at what the last 2 turns of production have been for Sami. Tank, 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 anti-air, anti-air. No additional foot soldiers. This is very quickly going to become you're playing a CO that has a negative day-to-day and no powers. And that's because PunisherIceman can afford to go just like tons and tons of vehicle spam. Because all of the vehicles scale with the day-to-day and the powers. Again, probably should just be ignoring these Neo-Tanks and kill off absolutely everything else. Yeah, just bring in your own Neo-Tank and medium tanks and stuff to kill off these Neo-Tanks. Okay, there goes that copter. That kills the recon. It is always good to take out the vision. Scouting over here. Killing out these units is very good. These are the only foot soldiers really on this front. Yeah, you don't want to do this as Sami at this point. Like, you can't really afford to put foot soldiers forward anymore. Because again, this is a 3rd turn in a row. Not a single foot soldier is produced. And there goes 1. There goes 2. And this one gets hit. There goes another one. And now we're at 13 infantry versus 3 and a mech. And then this mech had to put itself forward to trade for an infantry. Okay, 5 health infantry. Is gonna survive, I think. But it's not gonna be able to capture in 2 turns, of course. Okay, and then here comes the tough part. Now Sami did spend all the money there with tank infantry. Must have had some serious repairs going on, I guess, with the Neo-Tanks. So we got 1 more infantry, which is nice. We do have the APC lined up for it, but it's going to start becoming very detrimental to build infantry because PunisherIceman is just going to keep building vehicles. And while Sami infantry are nice, they're not as strong as the vehicles that are going to be coming out for these fights. So while Sami still looks pretty much in the game, the death spiral has already taken effect. Sami just don't know it. Like, look at this victory march. Is a victory march 3 infantry? I guess 4 technically. And then Sami's gonna get 3 cities, which is pretty good. Every viable infantry got a city. But you know what's gonna happen to all these infantry on the next turn? They're gonna die, and a lot of these cities are just gonna get taken back. Ooh, and then we have a base skip there anyway. It's so painful. I assume the medium tank's gonna kill the infantry and might go after the recon. There goes the infantry. Yep. The city's already lined up to be taken back. This one's already being taken back. There's no infantry on this front anymore. Sami's down to 2 infantry. 1 is on the front. 1 was just produced. Okay. It's like, yeah, you interrupt the capture, but now all of your vehicles are exposed because there's no infantry that can do the interrupts for you. It's very painful. What was that turn? Sami built a single infantry and nothing else? Into the block rock. Some scouting. Zoom down comes a tank. Kill off anti-airs. Off tanks. That's a little bit of a weak block rock, but that's okay. Sami gets this. Up 4k. It's something. Recon sacrifice itself. I do like the transport copter from Jakeman. The infantry count for Jakeman is also getting kind of low, down to 5. Of course, that's not nearly as bad as when Sami's gets low. But it's still pretty bad. There we go. We have Neotank infantry. And it looks like we're going to have to... If Sami wants to stop the city capture, it's going to cost 2 vehicles. The recon, and then whatever else gets hurled forward. Yeah, Jake doesn't have any infantry left either. It's just that Jake can still play the game very effectively without infantry. Sami is just a negative CO without infantry. Like, this is all... Sami's going to lose everything over here. You think goes for the medium tank hit. We've got the double time. Double time will start this capture, I guess. And +10/+10 stats. You get to hit these artillery, which is nice. Hitting the artillery is really good for this attack. I don't think it's enough, but it's still really good. Everything gets cleaned up over here. Mr.Ko just retreats. Totally fine. If these infantry do survive, I mean, there are multiple infantry now in this front, and the HQ is getting within striking distance, so there could still be a victory march. If PunisherIceman isn't careful enough here. Although there's a lot of charge needed to get there. We have the block rock? What? Just to kill this Neotank? That probably should have been saved. But yeah, anyway, the Sami death spiral has begun. We'll see if Sami's able to pull it off regardless. I mean, this is looking mighty good because this is a nice presence around this HQ. And PunisherIceman used the super last turn, so this Neotank doesn't actually get to reach anything. You kill off that tank. Go for the Neotank hit. Okay, the Neotank hit's really good because now it's harder to kill this off. But at the same time, it is at 7 health. We do have Victory March on deck. This should not have been allowed to happen. Alright, Victory March. This must be to kill the black boat. Otherwise, I think you'd always save it one more turn. No? What? I guess you just can't kill it? Why was Victory March used? Interrupt this capture, take this city? That's the weirdest Victory March ever. Okay. Wow, that infantry survived. Absolutely wild. Okay. The troops be moving out to get these comm towers. I'm surprised this infantry went for this capture. I thought everything was just going to back up. Alright, Sami making some progress over here. The Sami NewbieAus count's not going to be too happy soon, but otherwise it's kind of okay. Go for the copter strike. Take out the tank. Okay. Combine NeoTank. Combine anti-air. Alright, got more tanks coming out. The block rock is looking mighty scary, mainly because we have a nice grouping of artillery and vehicles over here. Do we have a copter come in for a smack? Okay, Sami managed to push back everything over here, although a lot of it did go up north. But I'm starting to believe in you, Sami, a little bit. Maybe you'll make the death spiral not true. Okay. Now we've got a block rock. It's going to let these artillery fire at a few more things, I guess. I feel like the block rock is... some of these block rocks we've seen have been like, I can use it, so I'll use it. I guess that's pretty decent. You can always have the NeoTank move here, and then you can repair it with your black boat. Ooh, some really good attacks here. Okay, that makes the block rock amazing. And now suddenly both fronts are winning for Jake. Sami has got 2 infantry. One is by the HQ. Oh man. Very daring to be so far back from the HQ as Jake. Okay. You would typically expect... Yeah, there we go. Have more stuff just blocking the way, please. There we go, there we go. Just need stuff around so you don't have some surprise one shot of the black boat and lose the game. Yeah, well, it's really difficult. You see, when... I haven't been really talking about the income much, but yeah, Sami's really far ahead in income. The problem is it doesn't matter as much as you might think. Because once you get lower in the unit count and lower in the army value, in order to maintain that income lead that Sami has to keep throwing away vehicles in a very non-cost-effective way. The vehicles have to go and hit infantry and then get traded out for them. And so Sami's losing more than like 10k a turn. Just trying to maintain the income lead, so you never really get ahead. You'd have, if you want to have the income lead actually matter in the game, the fighting has to stop for a bit. And the person who's behind in income is probably not going to let the fighting just kind of stop for a bit. They're going to keep trying to take their cities back. Because yeah, it doesn't matter if you're making 10k more than your opponent if you're losing 20k more than them every turn, for instance. Inchem also takes like 3 turns to actually affect a field, because you have to build it and then it has to move over. Okay, we are getting some more copters now from Sami, which is good. Trying to offset that unit count disparity. Recon stay taken out. Very important to kill the Sami infantry, as we all know. Here, I would probably put the transport copter right there and put the artillery right here and just say, you can't get away without a rescue. Didn't have in here. That's okay. Well, they didn't try to get away anyway. Usually what you do is you try and move down towards your reinforcements so the army has to overextend to try and finish you off. Pop goes the Neo tank. Pop goes all these tanks. Yeah, the death spiral is super complete. Sami's just kind of dead. Trying to move out down here. We have a few infantry. Completely vehicles up here now. Which just means all of the vehicles are 10% less firepower than the Jake ones. Unless they're on planes, in which case they have even less. And they don't have a block rock or anything like that to help support them. They have a victory march, which just gives them +10/+10 stats. It's a painful. And the Sami has resigned. Hello, Chariot Rider. GG. But that's how it goes for Sami. There was some nice plays though for both players there. Neverlocke versus NewbieAus. Max versus Eagle. Global League on Lunatic. Yes, yep. You surrender with a 6k income lead. It just doesn't do anything for you. Life is rough as Sami sometimes. Exactly, yeah. Sami loves to get lots of income and then tech up and all that, but you have to have lots of infantry to do it. It's true, it's tough. Okay, we're on Lunatic. This is the one with the weird black boats in the middle for like one-way gates. They're both going for their neutral bases first, as you should. Neverlocke's going to go for the airport a little bit faster than NewbieAus goes for it. I mean, both Max and Eagle love to have their copters. Eagle has got the stronger copters, but it's okay. Max gets copters with an increased speed faster. We are going to have a tank coming out from Max. No tank in response for NewbieAus, so if I was Neverlocke, I would be immediately suspecting that a copter is coming next turn. And I would make sure to save enough money to get an anti-air, which would only have to be 1,000. And there's the copter. Interesting choice for Neverlocke to go for this capture, because it just dies. It's knocked down to 4. I guess the idea is if the infantry went to finish this guy off, the tank could hit it with impunity. I think the infantry should have still finished off this capture because you've got all of these extra infantry coming in and they can just go for these captures pretty safely. And then Max would just not get this city probably. I actually missed what happened up here. Looks like we had a little infantry fight with recon backup. So we have a tank on both fronts by NewbieAus. This one's to deal with the anti-air. This one's to deal with the recon. Okay, we do have the copter hit the tank. It's going to be backed up by another copter and a tank. So the idea being I hit your tank, your anti-air hits my copter to kill it, and then my copter and tank kill your anti-air. I definitely prefer trading, or I like trading a copter for an anti-air as the copter player, especially if it's coming directly from the airport. Because it's a lot easier to just replace copters than it is to replace anti-airs. Copters cost 1,000 more, but they get built at an airport that only builds copters. The anti-air has to be built from a base and oftentimes has to also travel farther to get to the exchange. So you lose in tempo and unit count usually for the 1,000 net gain. You like putting an artillery behind the enemy black boat? That's pretty cool. Recon just gets to go for a nice little attack over there. Very nice. We'll see. Yeah. So there was a potential shenanigans to try and just put this tank here and sit there hoping that the triple infantry strike doesn't kill it. Because then this tank can't hit the anti-air. Unless this copter kills the tank, and then this anti-air would survive. Yeah, so the way you do it is kind of like what NewbieAus did here, is you go for attacks that are closer to your airport than it is for their base. And then you just let their anti-air come in, kill your copter, then you kill their anti-air. You can also just move a copter into their anti-air range. Like if their anti-air takes 3 turns to get into the area, and it takes your copter 1 turn or 2 turns, you just send it out there. They kill it, and then you just have the tanks. You just have to make sure you can kill the anti-air on the follow-up. And then you just immediately replace your copter, because it's easier for you to do. It can be really easy to do if you have a medium tank, because medium tanks will pretty much always one-shot in the anti-air. If it was on like a city, then you'd need like 2 tanks instead of copter tank. But you can still do that kind of same thing. You can do it a lot to get yourself really nice tempo advantages. Okay. It's a pretty weak wall, but it's fine because there's not enough stuff in range to crush it. So it's okay. I mean, it's not the worst wall. Okay, so they're starting to just form a line. Neverlocke's still pushing some pressure, which is good. The NewbieAus copter fly back to the airport? Okay. Ooh. NewbieAus backs all the way off. Just gives these 2 cities to Neverlocke essentially for free. I mean, these 2 NewbieAus is just going to get as well. So it's 2 cities for 2 cities. But not even an attempt to disrupted over here. And then the pressure continues for Neverlocke to try and take this city. There are a lot of units over here still for NewbieAus, so we'll see how that all works out. NewbieAus is not going to go for any pressure play. And is kind of being stretched thin. Like all of these infantry have to defend all of these properties at the same time. They're just splitting the two forces here. But Neverlocke isn't going to mess with this artillery. He's not going to have any super fancy dives or anything. So we might just enter into a stalled state. Neverlocke's trying to stop that. Obviously, NewbieAus would love it because they're Eagle. And they get a lot more out of unit buildups than Max does. So if they're just chilling at equal funds, then it's happy days for Eagles. Okay. Neverlocke is going to try and take this city. There isn't any artillery in range. So it might work. We do have like infantry strikes from here, infantry strikes from here, infantry attacks here kind of move. But it looks like NewbieAus is not interested in any such shenanigans and is just going to back off. Okay, so Neverlocke just takes that city, goes for a little bit of an attack. How did that... Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, so we attack the infantry and then join to make this guy full health. Okay. I don't quite understand the purpose of that. Because it still doesn't work as a wall. You can go infantry strike, 5 health infantry might be able to sacrifice itself on the road. And then the tank can just kill this guy. Okay, Blackboat's taken out. I guess the unit cap is fast approaching. Is it at 50? NewbieAus has 7 more units than Neverlocke. You have a bomber. You don't typically... I guess I should say, you're not usually that excited to build a bomber against Eagle because the anti-airs can just chase it down from so far away. But there aren't that many anti-airs for Eagle, so it's probably fine. It's getting mighty spicy, though. Standing on the airport. Things that Eagle can do is, if you're Eagle here, you can always not stand on the airport and instead just build a bomber and say, go ahead and hit it. You're going to give me so much charge. You have to hit it and also, like, wipe out the rest of my stuff, because otherwise I'll just smack you with a super next turn. And if you don't hit it, then I have an Eagle bomber. Okay, we have a little bit of an attack going in here. It does get the health low enough so this doesn't get captured right away. Yeah, I do like more Eagle anti-airs. They're very good. You have to be very careful as Max. Okay, we do break through, kill that anti-air, nice. Hit the artillery. No power is being used. I think it's very easy for Eagle to get a super next turn, so... Like, that bomber is super dead. I could be wrong, but like all of these medium tanks over here, the Neo tank can hit this medium tank. I imagine we can get enough charge. Okay, the copter's going to sacrifice it against the itself against the anti-air. I don't even know if that's needed. The tank sacrifices itself. This is those sacrifices are things you don't do at the start. You typically want to do those things unless they're required, for sure, or like they're occupying space you need. They're typically things you'll do after you do all of your guaranteed attacks. So we do have the super. Looks like the copter sacrifice was necessary. I don't think the tank sacrifice was. We do have the bomber. We have the lightning strike from NewbieAus, which is looking good. A bunch of copters are going to go down here. The bomber's going to get taken out. All of the anti-airs for Max are going to die too, which is going to be really painful because we've got Eagle Air as well. Yeah. Smackety, smackety. Bomber lives at 1. That's a pretty good turn for Eagle. I think that's just a resign. Yeah, Neverlocke resigns. And that's why Eagle loves to have the game stall out. Eagle ults are so terrifying. The unit count was more valuable. It's fine. It was to afford the bomber. You'll be too aggressive because you have the weaker day today. I mean, that's fine. That's fine. GG. Fluffy would be very proud of you. You ended up having a very good anti-air count. Yo, thank you, pumpyheart. Thank you. They're very much appreciated. We're going to have a battle of the berries here. We've got Sadberry versus CatBerryLemonade. The Z game. Sonja versus Sonja. Fog. Training Area 1A, the Plains After House. What a name. It's a tier 4 fog game, so I don't know why there's Sonja. Good night, pumpyheart. Meme match. Alright, Sadberry versus CatBerryLemonade. Officially, the Battle of the Berries. Now, Sonja is a very weird spot in Fog of War. She's like by far the weakest CO you can play in tier 3. But if she's ever allowed in tier 4, she just dominates the tier. So it's weird that she's in tier 4 here, but that's okay. She is playable in tier 3, I will say. You can be successful as a Sonja in Fog of War, playing your tier, but it is harder than playing the other COs. Christopher, I don't think I can tell you whether or not you should resign, but I will say that getting winner here first is often very good. Max is tier 2 in Fog. I don't know what you said because the heart blocking you, but Max is tier 2. Tier 2 in Fog right now is Max, Eagle, Olaf. Tier 3 is Andy, Kindle, Sonja, Lash, Rake, Rachel. There's 6. It's a good tier. For Z games, Sonja was always listed as tier 4 CO until recently. Oh. Interesting. Hello, hello. Okay. Ooh, wow, that's a very early base skip from CatBerry to get artillery. Would not recommend this. Early base skips are often very painful because the infantry has a lot going on in its life that's not going to happen now. Sadberry also goes for a base skip while floating cash and gets a T-copter. I mean, I like the T-copter. I don't like the base skip. I especially don't like the base skip while the capture phase is still ongoing. Because it's more painful than just not having the infantry. It also costs you money because whatever the infantry was going to capture is now going to be delayed by a turn. So if it was going to capture only one city, that's going to cost you 1,000 funds as well as the infantry. If it's going to capture 2 cities, it's going to cost you 2,000 funds. It's rough. Although it's even more than that. Because not only is the infantry that you're building to capture those cities going to be a turn later, the infantry, all of the subsequent infantry you build to capture all the other cities are also going to be a turn later. Luckily, this wasn't the first infantry that was skipped, so it's not going to be that catastrophic. But it can still easily cost like 5,000. This is just painful stuff. This one only probably costs like 3,000 or something. Okay. Sadberry now goes for the artillery of their own to break this pipe seam. It does look like a very important pipe seam to break, I will admit. What a hassle to get out of here unless you go through this route. The balancing where you put pipe seams on these maps is always really tricky. Because if you make it too good, then it's just a mandatory thing to kill. And if you make it too bad to break it, then they just don't break it. Base skipping for artillery is not recommended, but I'll say. That's okay. Ooh, we have the Sonja mech. I do like the Sonja mech. Mechs have much better firepower than they have defense, so they benefit a lot from Sonja's super. Okay. So looks like CatBerry got their comm tower. But Sadberry did not. Very sad for Sadberry. The mech is also just kind of put right on the comm tower. That's not usually what you want to do with mechs. You want to put those in nice safe places so they can get their first strikes. Like on the mountain's better than on the comm tower. In a forest is even better than that. Did survive at least. I did a number to this recon. We have the copter coming out for CatBerry. I like it. And for Sadberry. Got double copter already. Infantry on the mountain. Getting some good scouting. This pipe seam hasn't been broken yet. We do get to repair our good friend the mech. I would have preferred if our good friend the mech was I mean, I'm good with it being dropped off here. I just want I would like the transport copter to go on this mountain instead and drop it off, so that the mech from the base could hop in next turn. Okay, the fight is ongoing. This anti-air does not reach this this battlecopter, but CatBerry is still able to prevent this comm tower from being captured, which is nice. Really don't want to do this, especially on the one base side. You don't want to lunge forward into the darkness with no vehicle backup with your 2 infantry. Because, for one, the trade's just going to be negative because you'll probably just lose your infantry on the following turn, and you won't get any kills, and you'll just go down in unit count. But also the damage that you do to these guys is going to do basically nothing. I mean, you'll do damage here, but then they'll just go and repair. It's Fog of War. They're nice and safe. And this is the one base side, so it's a lot harder to build up a really large infantry count. So you usually want to preserve your early game infantry. This one did manage to survive, although I think killing it off would have been better. Thank you, Red Halo. It was a gift from a loyal viewer. Yeah, good pipe seems basically force artillery. It's true. It's true. More and more mechs. I mean, I do like mechs. Ooh, this recon's so sad. It's like I'll just chill next to this mountain. Joke's on you. Recon, the mech is ready to strike you. Wow, we jumped straight to the fighter. An interesting thing to do. So you do oftentimes need a fighter in the Sonja mirror, because if the Sonja builds a bomber, then the anti-airs can't really do much against it when the super comes around, and so the fighter's the way to answer that. But a prophylactic fighter for that is kind of ridiculous. Ooh, we're trying to kill off this black boat. The pressure is on. Okay, we do manage to prevent the comm tower from being captured currently. It could end up being a poor choice. It depends on what Sadberry's reaction is. If Sadberry just kills all of these infantry, these foot soldiers, and then continues to capture, then the capture is still going to happen. It's just going to happen a turn later, and you'll just have no more forces left on the entire front. And in that case, that's a situation where you should have just let them take the comm tower. The mech squad. Okay, we got a medium tank. Yeah. Okay, the anti-air didn't completely follow along. We didn't join cap this, so this could be interruptible. It would still be interruptible and interrupted for just a few turns, but sometimes just a few turns is enough for a comm tower to matter. This fighter's trying to be super sneaky. It's going to be fighter plus triple anti-air on this front. Yeah. So anti-airs do one-shot mechs, but you need to have quite a bit supporting them, because otherwise you run into this situation where the anti-air that costs 8,000 funds runs up and one-shots the 3,000 cost mech, and then there's just another mech behind it to like kill off your anti-air. But if CatBerry uses the super here, then the anti-airs will be immune to mech attacks and copter attacks, and that would be very cute. Oh, CatBerry's got some attacks over here to get there. Okay, CatBerry got there. So now the anti-air will be safe. It is very cute. I'm not sure if it actually is worth it though, because it only makes the anti-air safe. Like this tank's just gonna get killed by the copters anyway. And there's not really that many other targets around. Yeah. The tank dies. Yeah. No, that wasn't really that worth it, but it's very cute, and sometimes being cute is what matters. Okay. Some attacks on the mechs. All these vehicles are going to get bombed. The Neo tank doesn't reach though, which is good. And this is kind of blocked off. For most COs, you'd think comm tower plus your super, you're probably going to kill that with the copter plus the mech. But Sadberry is playing as Sonja. So you have all of that negative luck coming into these attacks, and this tank on the missile platform is suddenly a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, that mech doesn't even try. I'm not super sold on using the super here then. Okay, lots of captures going into the middle for Sadberry. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why the super got used there. I mean, the mech is going to be really annoying to fight. There's no doubt about that. Although it only has one shot left. So, like, the 3 health tank can sacrifice itself if it needs to. Ooh. The fighter did fly all the way over here and is being a really good blocker for this HQ cap. One, two, three, four, five, six. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, that looks like it's GG to me. Probably would have used the normal power just to get the guaranteed like extra defense and stuff, but that's just GG. Very good blocking by CatBerry. That fighter proved itself. It did a long journey. I don't think it was actually needed here, but it still did the long journey and got there. GG, very good block. Got Thavidu. Sasha versus the Grit. Thavidu versus Reborn. Inland waters. Wow, this is an old map. Did this come back? Oh, this is Live League. Okay. Wow, Grit tier 1 in Fog Live League? Okay. I mean, it does seem kind of decent for Grit. Kind of a small map, although the double airport's rough. Okay. Here we go. You're almost giving up on being a Grit main? I absolutely despise playing Grit. So if you can do it, hats off to you. Yeah, as far as tier 1 fights go, Sasha is probably the best that Grit could have. If Sturm is available, Grit hates fighting Sturm. If If Hawke's around, Grit hates fighting global damage. And the extra firepower of Vombles just got stronger units. They'll just bully Grit to oblivion. So Sasha is probably as easy as Grit's going to have it. And it's still going to be real annoying to deal with that extra income. Especially on a double airport map. I imagine Sturm's not allowed on this map. The recon harassment would be insane, though. Recon spam, always. Grit's not fun to play against, it's true. Thank you, Meta, thank you. Okay. This is a very cute artillery placement. It does cover the only tile that a vehicle can strike from. So we'll see if the recon goes for it. It does strike, and then the artillery is going to get its fancy attack off. And then we're going to find out if Thavidu is going to be willing to sacrifice 2 recons to finish off his infantry completely. It will delay the capture for a long time. But I don't know if it's worth it. Because unit count can very quickly become what's most important in the matchup. For Grit. Oof. Okay, looks like we're going to try and focus on this more central area here. It's kind of tough for Grit to have a... It's kind of like, where does Grit put the artillery to cover this fight? And I'm not sure, because they can't quite cover it from across the river down here. So they'd have to, like, go around this corner, which looks just absolutely hideous. So exposed. But the recon isn't the one that went in. Recon should definitely have been the one to go in. You would go recon attack from the city. And then you'd be like, oh, I get to see what else is here before I send my tank in. Okay, so this is going as well as it probably could for Reborn. Went for a transport copter. Now, I have seen Grits go for essentially like massed helicopters because they can make for decent blockers and also decent ways of getting vision. But that was more in high funds fog rather than in normal fog. In normal fog, you can't quite afford to just pump out a ton of transport copters. Killing off all of the recons early on is really good for Grit, though. Because the more your opponent doesn't know where your artillery are, the more things you can actually do on the map. Ooh, kill off that recon, too. Anti-air, of course, can't quite cover this. Bring in some more infantry. Oh man, the infantry count on the left-hand side for Grit is so bad, though. Recon finishes this guy off. We have infantry coming down to take that. There's no huge rush on stopping this. It's an infantry forward. I think I wouldn't have even done that. I think I would have just chilled. We'll see how greedy Thavidu gets with the copters. We do get to hit that artillery, which is nice. Tank comes on over here. Yeah, Grit's kind of falling apart on the left-hand side. And the middle is going to get this anti-air. We do have a lot of infantry going down for Thavidu, so good for Reborn. We do have some more anti-airs coming on here. They are out of the vision range. Very good. And we do have another backup artillery, which is also nice. The copter decides to stick around to kill off. And artillery is going to get taken out by this anti-air. We have a market crash. I don't know why. I don't think there's much to really worry about with Grit getting the normal power. Well, I guess the plus 10 stats was annoying. Wow, the recon. Wow, that was a tough copter. Okay. I do like that Thavidu is kind of set up to just front switch and just clobber this side. Everything revealed by the recon. This doesn't die though, it just gets hit by one copter. It's still pretty good though. It's still pretty good. Wow. I thought Thavidu was going to dive in on this for sure. You just hit this with a copter, you bring out all your other copters, and you start capturing these cities. Bring the tank too. Well, it's starting to look like Reborn might be able to stall this out a bit. Which definitely benefits Grit more than it benefits Sasha. It just means you can get more of these artillery set up. Okay, we do have some cities denied. As you can see, we're going to have lots of copters this game. Tank hits the artillery. Okay, but that does mean the city goes through. Reborn's been really good at getting those pickoffs on the low health tanks. Only one tank in the back up here. So one of these anti-airs is going to be fine. More are definitely needed though. Probably another one. You guys both have one city in the middle. Alright. Recon finds a pickoff. You get to hit this really needed this turn, so you might as well just keep it for the future turn. Okay, we're going for snipe attack. Does give extra range, a little more firepower. Don't think it's really needed though. And the plus 10 stats is fine. But it'll also make it easier for Thavidu to now deny Grit's power in the future, because it's going to be more expensive and Grit's going to be basically starting from the very beginning again. Yeah, I haven't Zeratul, I did get your replay. I just haven't updated the queue. Oh, no worries though. I did get it. Okay, the extra 10% stats coming in clutch there. I just realized there's no comm tower in this map. Doing base firepower plays here. We did have to dive in pretty deep here for Thavidu. The anti-airs cannot actually reach, which is good. Oh, yes, this one can. It's not as good. Yeah. If the fighting's happening over here, it's kind of tough for Reborn to do stuff. If the fighting's happening right here, though, it's very easy now to defend from a distance. Have a market crash. Of the anti-air, of the infantry. Lots and lots of copters. Anti-air does make it over here to hit a copter. Copter comes in for a first strike too. The two anti-airs are at the front, but again, there's not quite enough tanks left for Thavidu to get a complete breakthrough here. So Reborn is going to be able to hold the line. It has the triple artillery setup over here too. Copter takes out copter. Do take out that. Ooh, the infantry lives at 1. Wow. The market crash that is moving into artillery range, of course. Wow, this city... Oh, it doesn't. I thought I was going to go through. Triple artillery are going to get the fire here, which is pretty nice for Reborn. By pretty nice, I mean really good. That almost gets taken out. One more tank over here. But these copters are getting in range to strike back at these artillery if they don't move. Okay, never mind. Get to dive forward a bit. Whoa! That artillery didn't shoot the tank. That's really bad for the anti-airs here. It's almost out of infantry. Thavidu is up by a single property, which of course also means more money than that, but it's not proven to be quite enough for some of these exchanges. Kill off that anti-air. More copters. Get a little bit more money than Thavidu can very comfortably start producing like double copter every turn with infantry and stuff like that. We're gonna snipe attack to shoot this anti-air. Interrupt the property as well. I can respect it. Double copter coming for the swing. Reborn goes around the bend. Ooh. Blackbow gets shot down. It's pretty daring. Thavidu's almost just kind of dead unit value wise here. The artillery have gotten too many hits in. The trifecta artillery setups have been working very nicely, I should say. Okay, how does Thavidu try and pull this out? We do still have an income lead, which is nice, and it's going to grow a little bit. If there can be just enough copters that it will swarm over what Reborn has, then things will be fine. But it's so painful to have to send these vehicles forward to interrupt captures. Another property does get captured by Thavidu. They're now at 8. Very awkward for the attack. Kill off that copter. Not a huge fan of that choice. Yeah, Recon tries to get that because it looked like that this anti-air wanted to be the one that interrupts the capture, but it would have been a lot safer to just have the anti-air kill off that copter and then have something else go for the interrupt. Okay, so very painful. Or Thavidu could have just let this capture go through, I guess, and just attack down here. Okay. So it looks like Reborn is finally going to get defeated on the left side, or like the army over here it will be. Because two anti-airs can kill an anti-air. Then we have a recon and a copter to strike over here. This was a very weird move. This infantry probably should have just stepped here to reveal it. And then attack it. Okay. We're going to anti-air. Yep. Ooh, it lived at 1. That's right. There's no comm tower. A snipe attack does let this guy. Oh, he was already shooting. Okay, it got the kills, so that makes it all worth it in the end. very good use of transport copters for Reborn here. The artillery are now in a very centralized location. I don't know if they necessarily want to be in a centralized location, because it's almost immediately in airport range. Which looks mighty dangerous to me. Thavidu is starting to catch up a little bit in the unit value. Good anti-airs. Ooh, the push towards this HQ looking mighty scary. We're at day 24, so there's still quite a while before the day limit would get reached. This property's getting captured. I do like having Thavidu go for the attacks on all of these reinforcements. It's basically free. And then we don't quite have a good breakthrough here, it looks like. Just go for some artillery hits. The tank forward, huh? Anti-airs, copter strikes. Ooh, I don't know about that copter strike. That's in range of this other anti-air. Ooh. It looks like Reborn might be going for the HQ cap. They have caught up in the property count. Oh man, this does give Thavidu quite the choice. Do you do you chase or try and finish off all these reinforcements, or do you try and jump into the middle here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If this tank could hit the anti-air, then maybe you'd go into the middle. Maybe you still do. I mean, the anti-air kills this copter. Your tank probably finds a target. But these guys are just kind of free at the same time, and then you also get to start like double captures. And free is a very good price. The rocket is such a weird choice by the grid player. It's going to be so slow, and the fighting's happening over here. Thavidu resigns? What? What? I do think it was probably better to go for these guys, because I think Thavidu can hold the HQ for a little bit longer. But I don't think you need to resign there, Thavidu. I think you're still in that game. Well, the HQ threat's fine. You always have these tiles to attack from. At this point. The GG. It is Fog of War. And Thavidu is going to have like a way worse units lost screen. Because Thavidu has produced so much more money. Yeah, Thavidu's lost like 60,000 more. But has also produced like 60,000 more. So it probably looked a lot worse to Thavidu than it was. Yeah. Score 1 for the Grit Mains. It's true. Yeah, it can be dangerous to look at those stats. They lie to you. They lie to you. Okay, that's going to be it for the stream. I head to bed. I hope everyone enjoyed. I hope everyone enjoyed the thumbnail too. We've got some more new thumbnails on the way. I leave you all with an apple. And I hope you had a great time. Thanks for watching.
It's Go7, king of the penguins. Of all the penguins, he is king. It's Go7, king of the penguins. Being king of the penguins, that's his thing.